Hello everyone. Hello Carl, hello Mora and Bai. Hello, hello, hello everyone. All right. There. If you have questions, you are free to ask me your questions. It's called Ask Teacher Mark, so ask me whatever. All right? I'm going to work while I try to answer your questions. No, we got pushed in all the time. Yeah, they really pushed us. when I was growing up, they weren't quite so careful as they are now with kids. You know, when I was a kid, I would go outside with my friends. I wouldn't really say where I was going. We would be gone for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. Sometimes far away into the woods by ourselves. Playing in the forest, playing with dangerous stuff. You know, today they're so careful about, you know, kids, you know, they treat kids like they're little, you know, glass pieces that are going to break. Vicky, yes? What's your question? If several children beat another child, if I was the child who was beaten, what would I like the parents to do? That depends. Where did it happen? The topic is anything. Just ask me questions. Well, that's what I'm trying to ask, Vicky. Did it happen at school? Did it happen in the playground? Did it happen in the neighborhood? Where did it happen? It depends on where it happened. For example, if it happened at school, the first thing I would do is go to the school and tell them, if this happens again, my kid's not coming to school here anymore. You know, in a school environment, it's partly the teacher's responsibility to make sure it's a safe learning environment for everyone. And guess what? I don't like bullies. So it's my duty to find out who the bullies are and then de-bullify them. Which usually means, to be honest, there are times when I might pick on my students a little bit. Yeah, I know it sounds weird. I'm the teacher. Why would I pick on my students? I pick on the bully. I find out who the bully is, and I publicly embarrass them because I want them to see what it feels like. And afterwards, I will talk to them separately and tell them, you don't like it when I do that, do you? Now you know how it feels. Okay? So if it's at school, it's the teacher's responsibility to handle this, and the teacher should be held accountable if they didn't do anything. If it's not at school, if it's in the neighborhood or something like that, to be honest with you, that's slightly more serious, but harder to deal with. If it was one time, I will insist on an apology, a public apology, a contrite public apology. And if they are unwilling to give me a contrite public apology, I would go to the police. Assault is assault. So when kids, let's put it this way. Let's put it this way. If a bunch of adults beat up another adult, what would you do? You would call the police. Why? Because it's a crime. It's assault. So why is it different when it's children? Sometimes it's not. Kids make mistakes, that's true, but there are certain mistakes that you just can't make. There are certain mistakes that you must pay the price for. So, yeah, if my kid got beat up and it was pretty serious, and they didn't apologize contritely and make sure it never happens again, then yeah, I would call the police and file a report for assault on my child. That's exactly what I would do. Okay? All right, what else do we have here? Once your friend had an argument about which kind of person can be more harmful, a stupid person or a bad person. Christine, they're equally harmful. The results of stupidity are often the same as the results of evil or being bad. So if the results are the same, then yeah. I think that stupid people do just as much harm as bad people. That's my opinion. I think that the problems of the world need to be solved on two fronts, and one of them is bad people. And bad people are actually most bad people, it's very easy to deal with them. Most bad people are just bad out of a survival instinct. Most of them. So, their survival instinct is dependent upon the economy they're in. So if the economy they're in is desperate, then they will act more aggressively. If the economy they are in is supportive, then they don't feel a need to act aggressively. There is a certain correlation between crime and economy, economics. That's not hard to say. The more desperate your economics are, the more desperate your people are. Desperate people do desperate things. So, bad people are a problem, but bad people are usually bad out of circumstance, to be honest. Now, not all of them, but sure, there are some people who are just psychopaths. They're just bad people. But I think the majority of people choose to do bad things not because they are bad, but because they feel like they have no other choice, or they feel that that's what they need to do to survive, right? Like, it's a survival instinct, okay? But stupid people don't know the damage they do. Stupidity is a disease that only you have, but it affects everyone. If you are stupid, your stupidity affects everyone around you. Excuse me. So, they're both a problem. But I think stupidity is actually slightly harder to deal with. Stupidity is slightly harder to deal with. Can I give you a good synonym for dignity? Sure. Let's see. Poise, dignity would be poise, morality, virtue. It's a hard one because dignity is really, it's kind of a unique sense. Self-respect, maybe. Sense of personal character, maybe. Okay. Why don't I record my book chapter by chapter? Well, I can't right now. There is no way for me to post that, one. And two, I'm not going to give my entire book away for free. I'm going to only post a few chapters for free. And three, when my book does come out, I'm sure I'll try to do some sort of an audio version of it. So I don't want to ruin the audio version by releasing it early. So for right now, it is what it is. And recording the whole chapter, sometimes that's a lot. That's too much. That would take 10 or 15 minutes, and people don't want to listen to 10 or 15 minutes of stuff anymore. Unfortunately, nobody has patience anymore. Hello, Souza. Hello, Nancy. Yeah, self-respect is probably the closest one. All right, let's see. Yeah, I gotta figure out why this is not working. How do I edit that? Edit post. Ah, that's the problem. There we go. Okay, so it should be this. Save changes. The topic is Ask Teacher Mark. So just ask me whatever questions you have. Okay? I'm not a genius. I'm not even that smart. But if you want to know my opinion, I'll tell you. So you can ask me stuff and you can find out what a drummer would think. You know, what would a drummer do? Okay? Maybe that's what I'll change it. I'll change the title of this to next time to What Would a Drummer Do? Ask a Drummer. If I am single, I should date your dear friend Brandy. Do you mean Brandy from Hello Talk? I know Brandy. Brandy and I are friends here on Hello Talk. And right now, I am dating myself. I'm dating myself. We spend too much time thinking about who we want to be with and not enough time just being with ourselves. So I don't really spend a lot of time anymore thinking about who I'm going to be with. I'd rather just work on myself. Brandy's nice. That's not the point. I'm not trying to be hooked up. First of all, I'm not trying to be hooked up. And second of all, I can tell you, let me just put this out there. I am a huge pain in the ass. Nobody would really want to date me. Okay? I do everything very difficult. Everything that I do is much more involved than anybody else. So you won't want to date me. Believe me. You'll be tired of me in a week at best. Vicky, enough, Vicky. This is not a dating game, okay? I'm not interested. Let's see. What's my vision of my life? What do you mean? I'm not exactly sure what you mean by that. Concepts. Outrage, forgotten purpose of learning. Yes, good. Grammar. Good. My book should have 2. There it is. What do I want to achieve in my life? I think that at this point in my life, I have decided that the only thing that I should focus on achieving is just trying to make myself the best person I can. So, instead of focusing on climbing the mountains outside, I'm climbing the mountains inside. Get it? Do I think men or women talk more on the phone? John, I think that it only matters. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. It matters if you like to talk a lot or not. I know plenty of guys who love to talk a lot, even on the phone. They love it. So, I don't think it has to do really with men or women. I think it has to do with your personality. Are you a talker or not? Some people are talkers, some people aren't. You know? So, Christine, I think the other thing I've realized is that, like, for example, there are many people in this world who are trying to achieve something. They're trying to rule the world. They're trying to go to Mars. They're trying to do all these things. But don't you think it's kind of screwed up that you are spending your time trying to go to Mars instead of trying to understand all of the tremendous flaws that you have? There are some people who revel in their flaws, and there are some people who consider their flaws to be something that they must work on. So, yeah, I think more people need to spend time thinking about how they can achieve a better self and not a better something. What do I do when I feel tired of doing something? Andrea, what do you mean by that? You mean when I get bored of doing something? Can you give me an example? What's my pet phrase? I have two mottos, two quotes that I live by. Maybe that's what you mean. The two quotes that I live by, or I try to live by, are do unto others as you would have them do unto you. The golden rule, right? That's what we call the golden rule. And also Shakespeare's Hamlet. This above all, to thine own self be true. Those are the two phrases I try to live by. Thank you for the gifts, Jasper. What exactly do I want to improve in myself? I want to improve my understanding of the world. I want to improve my knowledge. I want to improve my personality flaws. Like just the other day, I was talking to ChatGPT about the fact that I think that there are many people in my life personally who aren't completely honest with me when I want them to be. And I think it's because they're afraid to be completely honest with me because they think I don't always handle it well. So I'm working on that. You know, I mean, there are many things I'm working on. I talk too much. Sometimes I try not to talk so much. Sometimes I believe in myself too much, and sometimes I don't believe in myself enough. I have a constant battle of identity going on. Um, I want to work on my physical self, my mental self, my spiritual self, my emotional self. So I consider all of those things. Do I need to lose weight? Yeah, I need to lose weight, so I'm working on it. Do I need to work on my patience more? Yeah. I think that patience is something that everybody can work on more. Um, so essentially, Tanya, I'm a very critical person, and it can be a problem, but it also can be a tool. And I try to turn my critical nature inward in a positive way, hopefully, because it can be dangerous. Sometimes when you turn your critical nature inward, you just hate yourself. You just become depressed, or you start thinking of how bad you are. But character development, I've talked about it before. I don't like video games mostly, but there is one aspect of video games that I like, and I like the concept of the video game, that you have a character and you must develop that character to be able to rule in that world. And the more you develop that character, the better you can do. That's true in the real world also. The more you develop your character, the more agency you have in the world. The more understanding you have, the more capacity you have, the more empathy you have, the more compassion you have, the more knowledge you have. Okay? How do you examine the black box? What black box? What are you talking about? For example, to learn English. Okay, wait a minute. Let me go back to Andrea's question. Andrea's question was, what do I feel tired when... Oh, okay. So, Andrea, that's what I thought you meant, Andrea. When you're learning something, or you're trying to learn something or do something new, one very important aspect of learning is variety. So if you're studying English and you only have one book, and that's the only way that you're going to learn English, the chances that you will become bored are extremely high. Extremely high. Okay? But if you have a book, and you have an audiobook, and you have a video, and you have an app, and you have friends and teachers and live streams and podcasts and TED Talks, and if you have many, many, many ways to learn the same thing, then the chances of you getting bored are much lower. And the chances of you learning are much higher. The multiplicity of ways that you can learn determine the success of your learning. So let me try to say that again. What that means is, if you have a singular way of learning, the chances of you winning are singular. But if you have multiple ways of learning, you increase your chances of learning. So, if you have one singular way of learning, you increase your chances of learning. You increase your chances of boredom if you only have one way to learn. Okay? It's going to take longer, and it's going to be more boring. But if you have a multiple ways of learning, if you have a multitude of learning, then you won't get bored, and you will learn better, because you're learning in many different levels. Okay? All right. Please be patient. Is there some suggestion I have for the young guys who are confused about their direction in life? Let me think about that. Wait a minute. Formulating. I think sometimes the focus is too much on the direction of life and not enough on the preparation for the trip. So what I mean is, I was a Boy Scout, and in the Boy Scouts they have a motto, and the motto of the Boy Scouts is be prepared. Be prepared is the motto of the Boy Scouts. And what does that mean? That means if you're going to go camping, that's great, but be prepared. If you're going to go hiking, that's great, but be prepared. So the Boy Scouts teach you, if you're going to go hiking, then you can learn about the plants and nature, and you can learn about which plants are poisonous and which plants are beneficial, and you can learn about which animals you can hunt and which animals you should avoid and how you can track them, and you can learn about nature and the seasons and science, and the more you know, the more successful you will be. So be prepared is the idea that to take a trip, you should prepare for that trip. And life is a trip. So sometimes you're so focused on driving down the road. Let's put it this way. If you want to take a trip, let's say you're taking a vacation, okay? And you're going with someone, and they're driving. Do you want someone who's driving who has great character or no character? So it's not just about where you're going, but it's about who is driving and how prepared they are to drive. Do they know enough to be a good driver? So what I would say is sometimes the confusion you have about the direction in life is misguided. That you don't worry so much about the direction, because you should worry a little bit more about the driver and making sure he's prepared to drive. Okay? How can I be not afraid to speak another language? Hazal. It's normal to be afraid of sharks. It's normal to be afraid of tigers. It's normal to be afraid of lions. But Hazal, it's not normal to be afraid of words. Okay? Words are just words. The worst thing that can happen is you'll be embarrassed and your face will turn red. Oh no, life is over. My face turned red. What will I do? How will I go on? Embarrassment is not the big deal that you make it out to be. Do you know the best thing you could do? The best thing you could do is go out into a public place and have one of your friends pull your pants down in public. I'll tell you why. Because you're going to be embarrassed. You're going to be really embarrassed. And if you do that, then nothing else will feel embarrassing anymore. You have a crazy sense of fear about something silly. It's just embarrassment. It's okay to have fear about tigers and lions and sharks and bears. It's weird to have extreme fear about words. So just speak and make mistakes. Who cares? Who cares? Okay? The more mistakes you make, the more proud of you I will be. How do you know if you're in an emotionally stable place? Oh, wow. Geez, these are some good questions today. Okay, I asked for it. Um, how do you know if you're in an emotionally stable place? If you feel like you have the energy to help others, then you are probably in an emotionally stable place. If you don't feel like you have the ability or energy or capacity emotionally to help others, then you are probably not in a good emotional place. So, uh, sometimes when I'm feeling bad, I will try to go help someone because most of the time that makes me feel better, one. And if it does make me feel better, then I know that whatever I was feeling before isn't as bad as I thought. Okay? And chocolate is a second. That's the next best thing to do is eat chocolate. I always choose to upgrade intelligence in video games. Yeah, right? You know, you get the idea, right? You get the idea. Hello, Carolina. More boyfriends is useful? Vicky, I think that you need to spend less time thinking about girls and boys and think more time thinking about yourself. How do you prepare the right way? Kessia, I don't think there is a right way to prepare. Everybody has a different path in life. So the advice that you get in life is never perfect advice. And the reason why is because the advice you get is always from outside of you. People give you advice. So if they are giving it to you, then it is not actually for you. It was for them. It's the advice they feel is best. So advice has an externalism that means that it's never perfect, but that doesn't mean it's not valuable. Okay, so what I would say is how to prepare the right way is do unto others as you would have them do unto you, right? Imagine from a place of compassion. That's an empathy. Always imagine whatever you're doing from a place of compassion and empathy. That's do unto others, right? And then just recognize that it's your responsibility to the world to develop yourself. And the more that you develop yourself and make yourself into a better person, that you're benefiting the world when you do that. But there is no right way or wrong way. Let me think about my answer there. Preparation is about consideration. People who prepare consider before they go. What if? What if? What if? Right? So preparation is all about imagining the possibilities that could happen that you must prepare yourself for. So how do you prepare yourself the right way? You have to imagine, what if, what if, what if, and then try to develop yourself to be able to deal with all of those what ifs. Okay? Vicky, how old are you? I hate to ask that question, Vicky, but you sound like a little bit old-fashioned. Good driver is husband. Women, you can't drive? Every man is a better driver than you? That's a funny thing to say. Yeah, Vicky, you are too obsessed with love. The best thing you could do in life, Vicky, is stop thinking about all that stupidity and start thinking about how you can make yourself a better person. Okay? Forget about other people, worry about yourself. Vicky, let me tell you one good piece of wisdom that I have learned. If you meet the perfect person for you at the wrong time, then it won't work. And what's the wrong time? The wrong time is when you are not developed yet. So, here's you and here's the perfect person. And the perfect person has developed themselves and they're up here. And you meet them, but you have not developed yourself, so you're down here. So guess what? It's not going to work. So what I have learned in life is that if you want to be ready for the perfect person when they show up, you better work on yourself so that you're ready when they do get there. Okay? Because if they come but you're still immature, it's not going to work. Okay? So a lot of these people who say, whose marriages are not working, it's because they got married before they worked on themselves, or they never worked on themselves. You can't be a good couple if you're not a good individual. A great couple is made from two great individuals. They have to work on themselves, though. All right. Do I think I'm handsome? Not particularly, no. But Vicky, again, you're don't swim in shallow waters, Vicky. Swim in deep waters. That's where I live. I don't live in shallow waters. Today is for any questions. It just happens to be people are asking me a lot of philosophical questions. What do I recommend to Brazilian people to study English to be fluent? Kessia wants to know. Do I have any particular advice for Brazilians? Let me think about that. Not really. Brazilians, I think that Brazilians have an advantage in some ways, because I think that there is a similar quality to Portuguese. Brazilian Portuguese is a big mouth language. It's a very open mouth, big mouth language. And I think that Brazilians also have a very strong voice, right? They're proud people, and they have a strong voice, and they're not afraid to say their feelings, I think, kind of like Americans are in that same way. So I think there's a similarity in the voice shaping of the languages, the two, and in maybe not the performance, the execution of the language. So, I don't have any real specific advice for you, Kessia, specifically regarding you being Brazilian. I can't think of anything specific that would really benefit you. Just, follow and check out my advice, and you'll learn some things. Okay. What's the difference between Brazilian and Chinese? Well, that's a lot. Well, first of all, Brazilian is not actually a language itself. Portuguese, Brazilian is a kind of Portuguese, right? So, Portuguese is the language that's spoken in Brazil, the main language. Of course, there are others, but they have but there are different kinds of Portuguese, just like there are different kinds of Spanish, right? It changes a bit, right? So Portuguese in Portugal is different than Portuguese in Brazil. But as far as the difference between Brazilian and Chinese, there's a lot of differences. Human history teaches us that strangers can be as dangerous as lions, therefore it is an instinct to fear them. However, we can resist instincts. Yeah, right. Our fear instinct is good, but our fear instinct is often wrong. Our fear instinct is connected to primal instinctual wiring that doesn't always work in today's world, because that wiring was designed to be afraid of lions. But now you're applying that same sense of fear to things that are not lions, and that doesn't always work. Try the 5 Japanese whys technique as a framework. Well, I don't know what that is, but I'll look into it. Okay, guys, in the conversation, do me a favor and tone it down. Okay? Vicky or Brandy, tone it down. Okay? And Carolina says, I agree. It's important to work on ourselves first before we have a good relationship. I will say, I think you can have a relationship with someone and still work on yourself. Of course, any couple is still working on themselves. But I think to have a good relationship, you should work on yourself to a certain point. Like, there's a certain standard that you have to meet before you can actually have a good relationship with a person, right? But then after that, you still continue to work on yourselves. You just have reached a point where you at least have enough self-work done that you're not unhealthy for another person. Do you understand? Sometimes when you become a couple, you are not developed enough individually. So because you're not developed enough, you are actually unhealthy for each other. So, but if you reach a certain point where both of you have developed enough of yourselves, not completely, because nobody is ever completely developed. You never finish developing. But you can reach a point where at least you're healthy and not unhealthy for another person. Okay? Yes, desperation is a stinky perfume, indeed. What is the second language in Brazil? I don't know. I would imagine they do have a lot of Japanese speakers there because of the history. I would imagine there are probably a lot of native languages, right? But I'm not sure what the second most popular would be. I have never been to Thailand, Athena. I would love to go to Thailand. I can't. I want to go to Thailand very much, but I have never been. Xing Xing says, Mark, your time is 10 minutes late for our comments. That's because there are many comments, and I have to read them and react to them all. So, 你们需要有耐心，有耐心啊。You can ask anything. That doesn't mean that I will answer, but you can ask. Yeah, there are comments today I can't really understand either. Oh, look at that! Look at that. Deborah comes in with the win. German is the second most spoken language in Brazil. How telling. Deborah, how telling is that, historically? I wonder what happened there. I don't know how that could be. How could that be? It's almost like a bunch of people ran away to there. I don't know why they would run away. What were they running from? Thank you, Aranza. Come back anytime. Who am I? I don't know yet. I'm still working on figuring that out. Go to that website. skgamestololearnenglish.com. You can get started there. Okay? I am a musician, but I'm also an English teacher. It's not my fault that you're hungry. Don't be hungry in front of me. I'm going to eat because I'm hungry, and it's not my problem that you are. Go eat something. Which social games am I good at? What's a social game? Liam? What kind of social games do you mean? I'm eating pistachios. 开心果. Right. Thank you, Zoe. How long to be fluent in another language? There is no time There is no time. It makes no sense to even ask that question. Every human being learns differently. Every human being has different goals. Every human being has different feelings. So, the idea of fluency is a weird one because you can't define it. You cannot tell me what it means. How many words do you need to know to be fluent? How much grammar do you need to know to be fluent? Do you need to know the etymology of language for fluency? Does your grammar need to be perfect for fluency? So, Kessia, language is like the table in your kitchen. You clean it every day because it's never clean enough. Language is like that too. You're going to learn it and you're going to use it, and occasionally you'll make some mistakes. That's a dirty table. You got to clean it up. Okay? Yes, I do have a website. As a matter of fact, let me show it to you, because that's what I was working on earlier. Let's see. This should be under my book. Save changes. One moment. Why is that still showing up? It should not be there. Neither should that. Neither should, and my blog is not up either. Grr! Oh, because I didn't make it public, I bet. Oh, I hate that. I can't believe I did that. All right. I do have a website. I'll show it to you here very quickly. AFIECEnglish.com. If you go to my website, A Friend in Every Corner English Coaching, okay, you can book lessons with me here, okay, and I have a blog too, and if you want to go check out my new blog, you should. You can go to this, scroll down on the page here and click on this Buy Me a Coffee, okay, and when you do, you'll go here, okay, Be a Language Warrior, okay, and up here you can see posts. If you click on this, posts, then you'll get to here where I have a bunch of articles. Look, here's chapter 2 of my book. Here's an article about small talk that I wrote. Here's an article about grammar to explain the difference between everyday and everyday one word and two words. Here's a pronunciation tip. Here is an article about how to use would. Okay, so you should go to my website and my blog. Okay? Oh, let's see, what else? Why after the expression look forward to, we add a gerund and not the infinitive? Because if you said looking forward to meeting you, then it would be the other way. If you say look forward to meet you, so it depends on how you phrase look forward. If you phrase it as look forward, then you don't use the ing, right? I'm looking forward, I'm sorry, other way. You do use the ing. I'm looking forward to meet you. If it's the other way, then you don't. I look forward to meeting you. You see how that works? Right? So if you have the ing here, then you don't hear. If you have it here, then you don't hear. Okay? I mean video games such as PUBG. I don't play video games, man. I don't have time for it. To be honest with you, I don't understand how anyone has time for it. They take too much time. I grew up playing video games when I was a kid, and they took a lot of time then. But to be honest with you, video games now are not video games anymore. Video games used to be a fun way to spend some time and relax. Video games now are designed to steal your time. They're not designed to be fun. They're designed to be addictive. And not valuable. I've had this argument many times with many people, but I'm sorry, whatever time you spend on a video game, you aren't learning shit. You could be if you spent the same amount of time actually trying to learn. You would learn a lot more. So whatever you learn passively by playing a video game is not some sort of an argument like, oh, but you can learn. You do learn. You can learn how to move your thumbs faster, and your eyes and your thumbs will be faster. So what? To what end? To what end? And you learned about the different kinds of guns and what they're called. Great! How does that benefit you? You know? And, oh, but you can play with your friends, and it's like teamwork. But you could do real teamwork in real life, and it would be better. Okay? Start a band. That's teamwork. It's real teamwork. All right, no offense. I know some people get really upset, but I'm sorry, but I just think that if video games is a major part of your life, I think you need to re-examine that. I don't think it's as good as you think it is. I don't think it's as valuable as you think it is. And I think it is stealing your time. And one day you will realize how many hours you wasted. Okay, we all have things that we waste time with. Okay? I'm not trying to say that I'm perfect. I waste time occasionally. But I want to recognize when I do. You know? I won't defend it, is my point. If I'm wasting time watching some stupid Adam Sandler movie, I'm not going to defend it. I'm not going to tell you, but when I watch this stupid Adam Sandler movie, I learn about stuff. No, I'm going to tell you, yes, I wasted 2 hours of my life watching a stupid Adam Sandler movie. I'll be honest about it. You should be honest about it. You should be honest about it. Okay? So I hope that didn't offend you. I know that does offend some people when I talk about video games that way. But I feel like all I see is people who could be doing other things that could be better. Play an instrument. Learn to play the guitar. Play the piano. Sing. Learn how to cook. Do something that actually has real world value. It's like, you know, when you're a master of whatever football game or baseball game, you don't really think that the team players the teammates who play the game, they don't value you or respect you, right? So like the greatest pitcher in baseball, okay, or the greatest basketball player, okay, LeBron James does not respect you because you're really good at some basketball game. He doesn't value you at all in basketball because of whatever you do on a basketball game. Do you understand? What about a football game? Because commentators like Drew Peter speaks very fluently. Okay, great. But again, do you know who else speaks very fluently? David Attenborough. You could watch something from David Attenborough, and that would also be fluent speaking. So, Liam, you can listen and learn. There are things that you could do, but anything that you can learn when you're watching sports or playing a video game, watching sports or whatever, you could learn better by actually doing something. By actually doing something. Video games is virtual life. It doesn't actually have any real value. Okay? They just don't. And remember, every video game is designed to do one thing. Take as much time as it can from you. That's what they're designed to do. Tell me I'm wrong. You know? They're designed to steal your time. I'm a good actor? Okay. I'm confused. What about, I didn't say video games are evil. I'm not going to go that far. I won't say they're evil. I think they're games. Just like, to be honest, my view of games, video games, my view of video games and my view of sports are really almost the same. I think that if you spend a great deal of time thinking about video games or thinking about sports, I think you need to reevaluate your life. Because both of those things are games. That's all. It's very simple. They are called games, are they not? Right? Sports. All sports are games, right? So at the end of the day, does it have any value in the real world? No. It's a game. It's a game. Okay? And video games is the same thing. At the end of the day, it's just a game. I'm speaking like I'm very emotional because I'm a teacher, and that's what teachers do. Good teachers, they get emotional. Because it's called passion, Liam. It's called passion, my friend. It's called passion. And I feel I can speak about this because I grew up playing video games. I grew up playing Pong and Atari and the first Nintendo. And I spent time in arcades when I was a kid. But even that was a waste of time, but the waste of time that it was compared to the video games today, those video games were very... the video games I played as a child were not nearly as addictive or time-stealing as the video games are today. That's all. Okay, but yeah. Anyway. You do you. If you think it's a good way to spend your time, then go ahead. I just don't. I have books. I read. I study. I interact with ChatGPT about intelligent things. You know? You have great concepts, you have great ideas, you have great thoughts, you have great potential. Why waste it? Maybe that's my point. Do you have great potential or not? Because if you do, why are you wasting it? There are some video games designed to send evil messages. I don't think that I would say that for real. I would say that video games are designed to sell well, right? They're designed to sell well. And what sells well? Violence and sex and drugs and all the things that are terrible. That's what sells. So that's why lots of video games are bad. Okay? Because human nature would rather play Grand Theft Auto than explore a field. That's sad but true. I don't have a favorite movie. I saw a play about the Radium Girls. Yeah, great story. Yeah. I read I didn't finish the book, but I started reading the book about them many years ago. Yeah, terrible story. Terrible story. Great story. I mean, but terrible. Is it a good idea to avoid social media completely in order to focus on other useful things? No. I don't think you need to avoid it completely. What I think you need to do is your social media is a garden. So what are you growing in your garden? In my garden, I grow useful things. Some people are growing weeds in their garden. So every day, what do you need to do in a garden? You need to pull out the weeds, right? You go out to I have a garden. I have it right out there. I've got some tomatoes and some beans and some peppers, and I have to go pull the weeds out of my garden every day. There are some new weeds. Well, guess what? Your social media also has lots and lots and lots and lots of weeds, and you don't do anything about them. So now you have more weeds than you do good plants. That's a problem. So every day on my social media, I do spend time on social media. But every day, if I see stupid things, I do not watch them. I try to get rid of them. As soon as you watch them, you're done. You've already told it you like it. If you watch it for 3 seconds, if you watch any video for 3 seconds, the computer, the algorithm will believe you like it. So it will give you more. So you have to try to guess, oh no, that looks like stupidity. Bye. That looks like stupidity. Bye. That looks like stupidity. Bye. And then find something that's good and say, I like that. And that's good too. I like that. Ooh, that's valuable too. I like that. So my social media is full of things like history and science and philosophy and motivational, inspirational, educational, technological, philosophical things. So, it's a good garden. It's a healthy garden. Okay? What's my mindset towards music? I love music. I'm a musician. I'm a musician. Oh, I think I know what you're doing. You're asking, is music just as bad of a time waster? Is that what you're saying? You want to know whether I feel music has the same intrinsic uselessness? No, I do not, because they are not the same. Music is something that does have real world value on many levels. There is a lot of math in music. There is a lot of culture in music. There is a lot of language in music. There is a lot of expression and connection in music. It's not competitive. It's expressional. So music is about connecting, not competing. Okay? Any band who is competing with another band is not good. I can tell you that. I've been doing this practically my whole life. And I can tell you that musicians don't compete with each other. No, we support each other. Every great drummer I know only wants me to be better. They don't want bad things for me. There's no competition. They only want me to see to my potential. How far can I go? So it's not a good comparison because of that. Art is a similar way. Art is about understanding connection and expression. And, I played sports when I was a kid. And so, yeah, they teach you things like teamwork and sportsmanship. But do they? I'll tell you what I learned about teamwork and what I learned about sportsmanship. I learned that when I lose, my coach is mad. I learned that when when I make a mistake, I get yelled at and called stupid or whatever. I learned that when you win, you say, "Ha ha, we beat you." So they talk about sportsmanship a lot. They talk about teamwork a lot, but what I see does not exactly fit with that. What I see doesn't really fit with that. Excuse me. Let's see. How can I ask clear questions for understanding others or complex concepts? Start with ChatGPT. You can learn how to ask questions better by asking ChatGPT every day. Ask it questions and you will learn how to ask questions better. Okay? When I want to relax, what do? I love to cook. I love to go fishing. I love to go hiking. I love to read. Feel someone out means to try to figure out what they're thinking or what they're feeling about something, right? So if I say, I'm going to feel them out and see what they think, that means like you don't know, maybe they'll like it, maybe they won't like it. You want to feel it out to see, do they think this is a good idea or a bad idea? Okay, to sense. To feel someone out means to sense, what do I think they're going to feel about this thing? Even though I keep removing and blocking content, social media still suggests garbage in my feed. That's why I deleted them. Yeah, it's a constant fight. Social media is designed to again, steal your time. Social media is designed to steal your time just like video games are designed to steal your time. But you have some control over what you see in your social media feed. So you can exercise that control. Do you agree that the more words you use, the more you improve, or do you think listening is better? I don't think that's what you mean. The more words you use, the more you improve. I think you mean the more you speak, the more you improve. Both are true. The more you speak, the more opportunity you have to make mistakes and learn from them. So sure, that's good. But listening is just as important. You can't separate the two. Okay? There's a major, it's called a fallacy. A fallacy means like a mistake in thought, right? A wrong way of thinking, right? And sometimes people, often actually, people They say, do you think it's this or that? But in life, most things are not this or that. Most things are this and that. Okay? So, whenever someone tries to say, do you think it's this or that? In most cases I say, no, it's neither this nor that. It's both. Okay. Oh, good Lord, trying to keep up. Good for you, Lena. Maybe watching a TV series to learn English is also kind of wasting time. It could be, depending on how you do it. Intention is important. So let me put it to you this way. If you play video games, you could play them and get some value if you do it with intention, right? So maybe you're going to play GTA, right? Grand Theft Auto, okay? Play Grand Theft Auto, but did you make a vocabulary list of Grand Theft Auto? Do you know how to write down the words for everything that you use and see in Grand Theft Auto? Have you written down the phrases or words or vocabulary that you think are good or that you don't know that you should learn? Right? So it depends on the way you do it. It depends on the way you do it. Okay? Watching TV could be a waste of time unless you do it with a certain intention of learning. Now, does that mean that video games could have intentional learning value? Yeah, they could. They could. Rarely do they. I don't know of many people who do that. When people play video games, most of the time when they play them, they want to turn their brains off. That's my problem with both sports and video games. I feel like it's actually turning your brain off or filling your brain with distractions that have no real value. So it's not actually engaging your brain in a mentally beneficial way. Okay? Now again, do I know some people who watch sports and they're thinking about it strategically and psychologically and sociologically and on many levels? Sure, I know a few out of thousands and thousands of people. I know a few who think well when they're watching video games or when they're playing or watching sports or playing sports. But not many, the majority. Do you know what the word sport means? What is a sport, everybody? This is going to surprise you. The word sport, originally, the word sport was spelled disport. Dis means away. Port means carry. Sports are things that were supposed to carry your mind away. So that's what it is. That's the definition of the word. The word itself means to make your brain not think. It means to distract your brain, to give yourself something to relax. And relaxation is a good thing. Relaxation is good. Distraction is not. Okay, so sports can be good when they're not distractions of life. But from where I sit, they look like just distractions from life most of the time. Okay, so I can't worry about whether this team or that team won some game when I'm worried about things that actually have real world value. Okay? I can't do it. Maybe you can, but I'm not able to think about things of value and things of no value at the same time. I can't do it. Okay? All right. Now, again, I told you. What did I say at the beginning of this? Somebody asked me about being single. I told you I'm annoying. Nobody, you would not want to date me. I assure you. Okay? I assure you. Yes, desport, that's what it means. It means to carry away. Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I'm not trying to say you can't have fun in life. I'm not trying to say you can't have some hobbies. I'm not trying to say you can't have some distractions. I'm trying to say that if you were truly honest with yourself, you would admit that sometimes your distractions are too much. That it should just be a distraction for relaxation. That's what it should be. Okay? When you play a game for relaxation, that's good. But when you're playing video games, most of the time, you're playing not for relaxation, you're playing for escapism. Do you know what escapism means? Escapism means, I don't want to deal with the real world, so I'm going to go to this fake world and escape. So when you participate in escapism, you're wasting your time. Yeah, and above all, don't swim in the shallow waters in the baby pool. That's right. And don't eat yellow snow. I watch TV to escape too. However, Xing Xing, sometimes when I'm watching TV, I let my brain turn off. But often when I'm watching TV, I engage my mind. So even when I'm watching something silly, right? Like an episode of The Big Bang Theory, or an episode of whatever, South Park or Night Court or whatever, I don't care, whatever TV show that you watch. I will try to watch something mundane with an elevated view. So what does mundane mean? Mundane means simple, basic, common, not special. So TV shows are largely mundane, right? But when I'm watching, I'll try to think about the psychology of what I'm watching. I'll try to think about the sociology and the community of how this affects the community or the world. I'll try to think about the philosophical aspects of things, or the mental health aspects of things. You know, like I'll try to think about something on a deeper level. So that's my trick, so that when I'm relaxing, I'm still engaging, that I'm not escaping. Okay? Most people don't understand or appreciate being a deep person. Deep waters aren't trying to impress anyone. The depth of something is not meant to be impressive. And yeah, there are a lot of people who are afraid to swim in deep water. That's true about real water, and that's true about being really deep. Yes, I do offer English courses on my website. What is a waste of time? A waste of time is escapism. When you're trying to be bored, those are wastes of time. Okay, but to be honest, even that, occasionally a waste of time is a good thing. Occasionally, a walk in the park has no value except for the walk itself. So, it's hard to define a waste of time. I think it has more to do with your intentions, right? I can't really define it. It's defined by individuals, not by generalities. So, I can't say that any one thing is a waste of time, because there could be people who are able to use that thing in a way that is not a waste of time. So even video games, there are 1%, maybe 1% of people who play video games are always engaged with their mind and learning. 1%. Okay? So it is possible to play video games and learn. I just don't think you are. Okay. All right, if you want to learn how to study English, then you should just follow me. All right? It's too big of a question. How can I learn English? How can I learn Chinese? How can I learn Japanese? How can I learn French? That's too big, okay? But if you follow me, I promise you will hear many tips about learning English better, okay? About 85,000 people, no, 82,000? 82,000, sorry, 82,000 people follow me here. And they follow me mostly for my English tips. Mostly. Okay? So if you follow me, you'll get lots of tips. And you can also go to my YouTube channel or my website. Okay? But I'm writing a book about how to learn English efficiently. I can't tell you that answer. That's a book. That's a book. Okay? How do you get along with others and not feel left out when people around you think you're too deep or too much? You don't. You don't. Are islands lonely? No. Islands aren't lonely. Islands are just islands. You're only lonely if you think about it too much. But learning how to be comfortable with yourself is a pretty important part of life. You have to learn how to be comfortable with yourself. It's hard. Oh. Wait, Miriam, you're asking what? If I feel someone out is like to ask questions indirectly to get people's attention or get information. Right. Yeah. To feel someone out means to try to figure out what they feel about something indirectly. Usually indirectly. Okay? Could be directly, I suppose. But the idea of feel someone out implies indirectness, not directness. Because otherwise you would just say ask. Okay? I don't play video games or spend time on my phone, but I only try to learn English, but I don't see any progress in either case. Well, sometimes you can't see your progress, but that doesn't mean you're not making any. Guys, I feel like you have the wrong idea about language. Like you think that it's about being the best. It's not really. It's about music, guys. When you learn how to play a song, every time you play that song, you have to remember how to play it, and you have to play it the best you can. You make the best music that you can. So that's what language is. You make the best music that you can with it. It's never finished. It's never enough. You wake up every day and you try to be more musical. But there is no finish. Okay? That's one of the best ways to think about language. It's just like music. You just have to learn how to make better music, people. Every day. When you improve your grammar and you improve your vocabulary, you improve your ability to make better music with your words, with your language. And I don't mean music. I'm using it metaphorically. Okay? I'm not really talking about music. I'm saying that the idea is the same. That when I play a song, maybe I will make a mistake. Maybe I forget something here and there. Do you know how many songs I know? I know hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of songs. You forget sometimes. You forget little things. But then you go remind yourself and you try it again and you play and you try to make it as good as you can. That's the same as language. When I speak Chinese, I forget words sometimes, but I try to make the best music I can with the language I have. Okay? No. Shoot. Okay. Wow, it has been an hour and 45 minutes, and I must get going. But before I get going, I want to remind you guys again to please go to my website. If you go to my website here, oh, it never works, does it? Why? Let's try this one. Still didn't work. How about this? Go to my Linktree. Go to my Linktree, and if you go to my Linktree, you can find my WeChat, you can find my WhatsApp, you can find my Telegram, you can find my my website, my YouTube, my blog, my podcast. All of it is on my Linktree. Okay? So go follow there. All right? And you should check out my blog, everybody. I'm working on my blog a lot recently, and there will be a lot more coming. So you should check that out. Okay? Flake on someone, bail on someone, and stood someone up mean exactly the same thing. Not exactly, no. Stood someone up means that you were supposed to show up, but you did not, right? So you had a date, and you didn't come, right? Or maybe my student scheduled a lesson and didn't show up, and they stood me up, okay? It's usually used talking about dating, all right? You go out on a date, you're supposed to meet at the restaurant, and you show up, and they don't come, they stood you up. Okay? Bail on someone means that you are together with somebody as a group, and then they leave, right? So they're together with you and you say, let's go do this thing. We're going to go do this thing. And together you're going to go do that thing. And then they say, oh, I don't think I want to do this anymore. I'm bailing. Okay? So to bail means to leave in the middle of doing something. Okay? To flake on someone means that you said you were going to do something and you didn't. That's all. Okay? So to flake could be a lot of things. Okay? Is it okay to share my blog? Yeah, of course. Yeah. There's something wrong about the website. Yeah, some people in China have been saying that. Hold on, wait a minute. Sam, I think that some people in China are able to open my website and some people can't without using a VPN. Okay? So you may need a VPN. And I'm sorry, but there's nothing I can do about that. Okay? There's nothing wrong with my website. There is something wrong with blocking websites of other countries. Okay. To flake on someone would be like someone who agreed to help, right? Like, I need 10 volunteers, right, to help me carry books to the car. Okay, I'll volunteer, I'll be there later. And then they didn't come. It's like being stood up, but it's different, right? Stood up is usually more of a one-on-one kind of a agreement. Flaking on could be something more like, I said I was going to help this group, but I decided not to, or I got busy, or I didn't show up. That's flaking on. So flaking on is like being more irresponsible, right? If you're a flake, you're irresponsible. You say you're going to do things and then don't do them. Okay? All right. That's all for me. I must go. Have a good morning, have a good afternoon, have a good evening, wherever you live, and I'll see you guys next time, okay? Bye-bye. Oh, and over here, I forgot to look at my YouTube. Hello, Flavia and Maria and Miguel and Abdurrahman and Mian.